I don't think they're going to let this race go, Jamie, because the rest of the field's not even in the picture, so they're probably going to do another lap under yellow conditions before they let it go.
Well, it's interesting, that midfield group definitely not with the front runners, but they have let the lights go out. They are underway. Dean Perkins just slotted himself onto the back of the group.
Andy Knight down the inside here. It's not going to work.
3 and 4 wide. Knight leaning on Johnny Mack. Simon Richards locked up the rear brakes over the curbs. It's very messy off the exit. Dean Perkins was in the midst of it, and Darren Henderson, the bonnet's come up, so he's obviously been in the middle of it. Oh, that's bizarre.
Oh, it is. Look at Andy Knight's car already smoking there, and Timmy Edgell executed turn 1 nice and cleanly. The battle's still going on and coming into turn 2.
Lots of concertina effects further back. Nick Ross just glancing off the concrete out of the exit of turn number 2. Well, it was a busy turn 1, and we expect it here at Hamilton because it's gloves off as fog goes around at Samsung.
Now that's turn 3, so 1, 2 and 3 all had wrecks in them. Let's just hope they get through the chicane smoothly.
That's not a good place to be with the traffic bearing down on him. He's going to continue, but it looks like, I think the right rear may have been down on the LG Falcon.
Not too sure, but this is just working into Timmy Edgell's favour. You see a puff of smoke come out. These cars will lock the left front tyre going in here. It's just the nature of the contour of the track.
We saw the United Video Falcon going through. That is not Craig Baird. He's up in China this weekend, debuting in the Asian Carrera Cup Porsche Championship. That is Dean Perkins substituting for him this weekend. Dean Perkins of Vanuatu.
Well, it was interesting speaking to Dino. He said this is the fastest he's been in a year because the speed limit over there is 70k. He said so to go over 100k to him is luxury.
On board with John McIntyre. Now he's got some work to do. He's back in the 4th position. He got muscled aside by Andy Knight in the Radio Live Falcon. No, Mac's got a big run here on the main straight.
You see Andy Knight come into the previous corner, turn 8, locked the wheel, and that's allowed Johnny to go down the inside here. Now this is going to be a braking duel. These guys have to be careful. They have to be careful not to use the brakes up too early because that 5 or 6, they will go away. They do not have any brakes left. So they start using the engine, then the gearbox, and of course that allows other failures to happen further down the line.
And Mark, that seemed to be the general consensus after talking to the majority of these guys after practice and qualifying.
Here we go, sorry, restart.
This is Henderson into the back of Perkins. That's what's dislodged the bonnet on the BP Ultimate Falcon.
Now we use the word concertina, that is it.
And there's the bonnet flapping up. A little bit too early in the race to be asking for a service, and it was just very messy. Booth got sideways, he's carrying some damage. And there is the bonnet flicking up on the BP Ultimate Radio Sport Falcon of Darren Henderson. That's going to be a long lap around this 3.4 kilometres to get back to the pits. Tim Edgell doing the job, though, out in front. And talking about qualifying, he probably did what you would just about classify as the perfect lap because Kane Scott and Johnny McIntyre behind him both alluded to making mistakes in the 2nd and 3rd sectors. But Timmy was on a better lap the next time around and got balked by Simon Richards. And the next time he came past Richards, it wasn't a wave. How would you classify it, Mark?
Well, I'd classify it as a one-finger wave, to be fair.
I don't think he was calling him number 1 either, but Tim was not very happy. But he wasn't alone. There were lots of stories after qualifying about getting held up in traffic at various parts around this racetrack. Here's John McIntyre now in the 3rd position.
Now, let's see. I think Timmy has enough car speed that he's just going to go away and disappear in this, but alluding back to qualifying, I've never heard so many hard luck stories in all my life. If I hadn't done this, if I hadn't got caught there, Timmy Edgell done a better job than any other team. The guys just need to front up, make sure they get a clear lap. It's part of being a racing driver and being a professional team. Here's Paul Manuel going off into turn 1.
Yeah, just ran in a little bit too deep under brakes, and that's given a spot to the Tony Richards Toyota VIP Pet Foods Falcon of Clark Proctor, looking out the back now.
But coming into turn 2, of course, he's got a slower run. Now, the guys are on the inside or the dirty line, so this might create another problem in here. Oh, here we go,
Simon Richards.
See what happened there, Jamie? Locked up the rear brake. That actually drove him into Paul Manuel's car.
Nick Ross is going to take advantage out of that, so Manuel and Richards both delayed out of that. Paul Manuel back in the Oryx Ford this weekend. Struggled a little bit through qualifying, exit oversteer out of turn number 3. And already in these early laps, Mark, this field's just starting to spread out. We can see some tyre smoke there from Simon Richards. Obviously got a guard rub with the left front.
Yeah, it's just coming down, but in a period of time, that smoke will just disappear because the tyre will wear itself away to the point where the smoke won't be gone. But you have to say, John Penny's having another absolute sterling weekend. He had a rather high finish to the championship at Taupo. He's continued that now in the top 10, but, you know, we're 3 laps into this, a third of the way in. These cars are starting to get hot. The brakes will just start to be going away. Now, you see that. That's the car loading up on the tyre. As I say, give it another couple of laps, it'll either go flat or disappear. Either way, it's going to stop. So
Paul Manuel now under pressure from Nick Ross. Nick Ross in the Total Oil Porter Hire 007 Holden Commodore. Out of turn number 8. So we expected to see some action. It's certainly, we got it in the first 3 or 4 corners, but things just settling down now a little bit as we go back on board the third place, John McIntyre.
Yeah, as we expected. Listen to the gear change. Third gear. Right down to first, actually. Now we're hooked. Okay, up to second, all the way up to third, but as we predicted, you'll see Tim Hedgel just starting to creep away. Because he's leading the race, he can drive the nice, flowy, natural lines. He doesn't have to be defensive, and as soon as you can do that from a driver's point of view, just allows you to pick up, you know, a tenth there, half a tenth there, and all of a sudden over a lap, it's 3 or 4 tenths, and then of course over the whole race, it's 2 or 3 seconds. So that's luxury he has at this stage.
On board with Clark Proctor, that's John Penny chasing him down in the Penny Homes Commodore. Ford versus Holden battle here at the ITM 400 for the NZV8s. This battle behind the top 4 or 5 drivers. There's lots going on here at Hamilton. Don't go away. We'll be back after this with the NZV8s from the ITM 400. The action continues from the ITM 400. The NZV8s on the streets. This is the battle group for 8th, 9th and 10th. Headed by Clark Proctor, John Penny and Paul Manuel trying to play catch-up after that off. Just outbraked himself into turn number 1 a couple of laps ago. Now looking at the lap count, 9 lap this race. It was originally scheduled for 12, but just trying to get the rest of the meeting back on track. They have shortened this race up a little bit, Mark.
It does, and the teams need to take that into the equation too, but here we see John Penny on the inside of Clark now.
Big dive down the inside.
Can he make this stick?
Into turn number 1, that's a nice clean pass, you've got to say, but it's at this stage of the race, Mark, that all of the drivers that we spoke to on Friday were talking about brakes.
They were, and it's just because of the nature of the beast. It's a big, long circuit with a lot of braking, and there's not much cooling going on, so...
Lock up there from Penny.
A prime example, the rear brake's locked up, and then he went half spin. He'll continue, so look, lost 2 or 3 places, but that's part of being driving, and that's what the drivers need to take into account, is that one lap the brake's there, the next lap it's not, and they need to work that into it, Jamie. They really do.
And that's more of a nature of a street circuit, because the brakes don't get the opportunity to cool down with the walls around them and the race cars and everything. I mean, what sort of temperatures are these things generating around the streets?
Around here, they're probably 650, 700 degrees, which is no different than the other circuit. It's just, it's that for every part of every lap.
There's the replay.
John Penny going in there, half spin, a few flames coming out of the exhaust, so he gathered first gear, but that happened a long way out.
Just locked up the rear brakes, and he just done such a good job to get up to the 8th position with a nice pass on Clark Proctor, you got to say, at turn number 1.
He does, but that's part of it, is that you use all the brakes up in turn 1 for that move, and you know when you come to the next corner, the braking isn't going to be as sharp as you expect the lap before, because you've used it, you know, essentially the corner before again. So part of driving, and these guys are learning. Now, it's the first time they've been to the street circuits for a year or so. It's cool. There's a lot of debris out there, so unfortunately just got caught out.